I think I'll just use the KSS. Yeah.
What would you consider a life change?
All right, hi guys. Good evening, everyone. Hope we had a lovely week. Had multiple days.
Hi, good evening, Ashley. Thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm just trying to set up my screen share so that I can see what I'm presenting. Just give me a minute. Sorry for the wait. Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the time? Just you guys should just give me 5 minutes. Let me get myself together. I'm just coming out from another meeting, so All right, guys. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Hello, hello. Can you guys hear me? Please just give
Yeah, fine. Good
Good
evening.
evening, ma'am.
something. Okay, good. So, the people here were they here last week? So that I just know have a good talking point to start from. Hello, can you guys hear me? Was anyone here last week?
No, I wasn't.
Oh, I was not here.
No, ma, I wasn't here last week.
Um, Miss Victoria, should I just do last week's presentation instead? Because it seems like a lot of you were not here last week. You should just give me a moment. Let me try and see because it looks like a lot of people were not here last week, so I have to take it from the top. But, all right, can you guys see my screen? We're going to just take it from the
Yes.
beginning. All right, so majority of the stuff here is the same slide I used last week because I noticed that a lot of people that are here now weren't here last week, so I'm just gonna take it from the beginning. Mm, how many people? Hopefully, this set is more interactive than the one I had last week. So we're just going to be talking about products, building products on Web3, or being a product, either being a product owner or product manager in Web3. Let's get started. So generally, the first place you or the first step you take in building a product or taking a product from idea to market ready or ready for market entry is thinking about the design, how you want the product to look, how you want your users to be able to interact with this product. Essentially, design thinking. And design thinking is like a way to essentially solve your problem and focus on three things. So you have empathy, creativity, and iteration. Empathy, as in you understand the user's pain points, you understand the problem you're solving by building this app, and you literally experience the problem, or you can experience the problem from a first person point of view. Don't use a third person. Don't be the person or the product manager that doesn't understand their users issues or the users problems. Second, creativity, as in you want the experience, the user experience to be like, wow, okay, even if I have two, three, four apps that are solving the same problem the same way, this app does it for me because it's so easy to use and it's so interactive. I love using it so much. I don't mind. I could be there for an hour and I wouldn't be able to notice. An iteration, your solution should be able to take on multiple multiple faces, multiple versions. You should be able to come up with multiple versions of your product. So yeah, that's what design thinking is, and those are the three core ideologies that design thinking was essentially built on. So there are stages of design thinking. So you have the empathize phase, like I said earlier. You really have to dig deep and understand what problems your understand what problems that you're being solved for, that your app is being that your app is solving. Sorry. I mixed up my words there. So empathizing is understanding clearly what problem your product is solving. Understand, like, you need to dig deep and come from the user's point of view. Don't come from any other perspective aside the users in terms of creating a solution or crafting a solution or ideating us on a solution. I'm going to be asking a few questions or asking anybody, like, or anybody can ask me and any questions they might have after I finish with this slide. The next stage is define. So you're defining your problem and your solution. So you're saying, okay, problem A is I don't have, let's just take an app that everybody uses is Chowdeck, Web3 or not. An app that everybody uses is Chowdeck. So Chowdeck Chowdeck had, or people, the people that built Chowdeck had a problem. There wasn't a central place for them to order food. Jumia food was terrible. Uber Eats is terrible. They didn't have enough restaurants. The delivery time was way too long. There was no way to kind of track your delivery and track the progress of your delivery and your order. Chowdeck solves this by providing a wide catalog of restaurants with and allowing their users to rate the food based on what they like, based on their experience. They can rate the restaurant and rate the meal that they ordered, and then also rate their drivers in terms of how they handle the delivery process. That is a clear definition of problem and solution. That's a very, very good use case. Ideas. They've ideated on it. Childlike is going to be the use case, like that's the use case we're going to be using for now. They've ideated on this by basically rolling out what do you call it now. They've gone from customer service agents, like personal human customer service agents to AI agents. They've gone from that to that. So you can tell that these people they're constantly ideating on their problem and solution, as in, okay, do people really want to talk to humans when they're trying to get their customer when they're trying to get issues with their orders resolved? Maybe not. Even if, let's try using AI and see how our customer user base, like our user base responds to this. And you can essentially see that, oh, okay, like these people, they're getting feedback. Now the next update, they've announced that the next update, they're going to be taking away the AI agents. You will be connected to a human customer service rep rather than AI agents. So you can see that they're constantly ideating, they're constantly taking feedback and improving upon that, the feedback that they had or they got from their users. Next thing is prototype. You're prototyping essentially what I just said. So when you have an idea, push it out, build it out, push it out. That's how tech companies scale. They keep ideating and prototyping. Once they idea, they prototype. That's why you have companies like Apple. Apple released iOS 17.8 and people are like, oh no, this is making my system crash. This is making my phone hot. This is draining my phone's battery. And they roll the update back. They take it back to the lab and they rework. That's what prototyping is. You prototype, you test, you prototype, you test. So you see these last three steps, they're kind of, they can be compressed in one, because you go from ideation really quick to prototyping, really quick to testing, and based on the feedback of that test, you go back to ideas, you go back to prototyping, you go back to testing. It's a constant cycle, a consistent cycle. So as product managers, you need to ensure that wherever you're working, whatever feature or product or accessory or widget, whatever you are building or your company is building or your company has tasked you to build, you need to ensure that your product goes through this so that you can it can attain product market fit. We'll talk more about product market fit in the next few slides, but I just want to pause. Do you guys have any questions? Hello? Okay. I
Uh,
know. Okay, cool. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no question, Mal. I understand clearly what you've been saying.
Okay. Okay, I'll be going to the next slide. All right. Now we're going to the product aspect of things. What is product thinking? Product thinking is essentially having a mindset to deliver solutions that meet two things: business goals and user needs. So now we're introducing something else. We've already discussed the user needs and the and why it is essential for product managers to empathize with their users' pain points and problems. So now let's go to the business aspect of things. So you're not a project manager, you're a product manager. That means you're taking two people's feelings into consideration. Stakeholders and you have stakeholders and your users. Users are also stakeholders, but they are different categories. So let's separate them from the general stakeholders. Stakeholders are people that have a stake in your company or your product or the feature you're building. So this could be product owners, which owners are normally like the CEOs, the CFOs, like people that are in charge, the board of like directors in the company, people in charge, or your department head. That could also be a product owner. Then these product owners now, they have goals. Them, they're not here, okay, even though they're solving the problem and essentially started building a company because they had a problem. They're also here to make money. So those are like the business goals. How do you ensure that your solution is effective in terms of, okay, it's generating money, and it is also solving the problem that the user has. So you need to find the intersection between the problem space and the solution space. You can see this small Venn diagram here where you have the user needs, business goals, and tech feasibility. I don't know. The cycle is supposed to be a bit more upward because you're supposed to like find the intersection between the three and land here. I don't know if you can see my arrow. Exactly where my arrow is. That's where you, as a product manager, that's where you reside. You're thinking about the feasibility of the solution technically. You're also thinking about how feasibility is on the user side, that does it necessarily solve all the problems that this user is having? And you're also solving it in a way that is going to generate revenue for your business. So, and the thing is, product thinking emphasizes one thing and one thing alone: product market fit. Product market fit can be defined as so many things. Achieving, what do you call it? Achieving entering revenue stage. Once you're entering revenue stage, you're beginning to achieve product market fit, long-term impact. If you can't achieve product market fit, you're not going to be able to achieve long-term impact. There are a lot of companies. You guys must have probably heard that, oh, statistics are 90% of startups fail. Why do startups fail? Because they've not achieved product market fit. I'm not going to stay with you guys on this call for long because I have another meeting I have to get to in like 30 minutes. So I'm just going to rush through. I wanted to explain the two core things: design thinking and product thinking. So does anyone have any questions?
No, it's clear.
All right. All right. Let's just breeze through the rest of the slides. So here you can see where you basically discover a problem, you're designing the solution, you're iterating on the solution, and you're executing on it. You're executing on the solution you've come up with. So execution is, once you're in the execution stage, you're basically building and validating your ideas or your solution idea. You're essentially like, you go from, okay, you're looking for ways to solve a particular problem you have. And once you're able to define that solution, you begin to ideate on it. Like, oh, okay, this user flow, would it work better this way? Or we can go back to the drawing board and come up with a better way for people to use our app or interact with our solution. Once you've done that, you begin to prototype. Once you've finished building the prototype or the MVP, you can build the main like you can build the project full scale, because at the MVP stage you have like and there's another diagram of an MVP, but an MVP is not the minimal thing you should do. It is, okay, what is the basic of the basic for this solution to work? This solution needs XYZ to work. That means XYZ has to be built out, and then XYZ is going to be called our MVP. There might be additional features coming soon in the future, but for this app to solve this problem that I am having. Take for example Chowdeck. For Chowdeck to solve the problem of, oh, okay, there needs to be a lot of restaurants. So that means I need to be able to browse restaurants. Check. You can't just be able to browse restaurants. You also need to be able to order food and track the food, like the progress of your order. Check. Then you also need to track the delivery process. So the rider's number needs to be there, the rider's update needs to be there, the code needs to be there. Check. That is an MVP of a product. There are also things like, oh, okay, we can have a virtual wallet where, oh, the user will need, like, the person can just fund their wallet for the month and leave it there, then they can use it instead of transferring every time. Those are additional features. You can do the recommendations, what we call it, AI recommendations based on their order. Those are additional features you can add to. Those are additional features you can add to the product later on. But those three things: browsing, being able to search for restaurants near you, ordering and tracking the progress of your order, and then having contact with the rider. Those are the three major things that drive Chowdeck. That's the MVP. If Chowdeck was starting today, those are the three things they will build out, not any other thing. Going to the next slide. Combining design thinking and product thinking is just like, it's like 2FA in ensuring that people build the right products. Not every company does this. Some bad, terrible companies that fail. If you go and search, they did not do these things. They didn't take these steps. They didn't have skilled people sit down and analyze their problem from start to finish, from design thinking to product thinking. And the thing about products, building products, or being a product manager, it is your job to ensure that the solutions are, like I said earlier, feasible, scalable, and viable. Empathy with strategy. So, like, you're not just empathizing, oh, you're not solving for an ideal world, you're solving for the real world, and at the same time, you're solving a user's problem. So, you need to keep those things in mind. You need to be clean cut in them. If not, you'd end up costing your company a lot of money. So, like I said earlier, this is the image I was saying. So, this is not an MVP. This isn't an MVP here. What's an MVP is like, okay, how do I take myself from point A to point B? I'm using a skateboard. A skateboard is fast. It's better than walking, but at the same time, it's not going to be as fast as a scooter. And if I want to go faster, or if I want to go from point A to point B quicker with less energy, I can use a scooter or a bike or a motorcycle or a car. And essentially, the car is the best solution. But before we got to the car, we went through all these stages. And that's essentially how MVPs work. You don't need, it's not one wheel. You can't go anywhere with one wheel. You can't go anywhere with two wheels. You can't go anywhere with just the bodies of the car. It has to be the whole thing. And it's compounding. You need to make it compound. Like, your product needs to go from point A to point B super fast. That is the end. That is the end goal. But you need to get from point A to point B first to know how you can get to point A. Sorry, I'm saying point A to point B a lot because we're using like mobile, but like, I hope you guys get the point. Applying design thinking in Web3 is very, very easy. It's actually Web3. The only difference between Web3 and Web2 is the infrastructure that we use to build. That is like the technology. That's Solana or Ethereum, but in this case, Solana, because like we're Solana facilitators here. And building on these apps or building on this infrastructure is not as hard. It's a bit difficult, but it's not as hard because the mass adoption is not really there yet. So you're ideating on problems that are for very, very niche use cases. And it's easier because you can gather feedback real time. You don't have to wait. You don't have to conduct many survey. All you have to do is launch and you allow your users to give you feedback. Once you do that, you have the data you need to continue to ideate on your solutions. Design and product thinking, I already spoke on that generally. So let's just look at this canvas. So the product thinking canvas goes like this: is user first. I'm thinking about the user first, but I'm also thinking about the job to be done and what the outcome will be. So the problem, what problem are we solving? We're solving the problem of high gas fees somewhere and somewhere. Vision, why are we doing this? We're doing this so that it's easier for people to interact with the blockchain without spending money or spending all their money on gas fees. And gas fees are essentially transaction fees on chain. And the goal is we want to achieve lower gas fees across the board on Solana. Who is it for? It's for the average day-to-day user. Strategy, how we doing this? We are doing this by abstracting fees, so they need to be staggered. I'm using a products use case here, so don't worry if you don't flow with it exactly. But yeah, I'm using we're doing it by abstracting gas fees so that they are shared and consistent across the board. Picture, we're providing a DeFi app that allows us to leverage the abstracted gas fees, etc. So, like, that's how you break down a problem. So, I don't know, I would share these slides with you guys. I always forget to do that. Let me upload to my drive so that you guys can study it on your own time. Drive. You can see here the key aspects of product and design thinking and the differences between the two. So you're focusing in design thinking, you're focusing on creativity and user empathy. But in product thinking, you're thinking about your strategy and your scalability. And remember, even as product managers, you have to always find the intersection between the two. We're just trying to differentiate, so you don't say, "Oh, I'm doing the product thinking sprint for this." Meanwhile, you're actually doing the design thinking. The time frame is early stage ideation. So like you're doing the design thinking or thinking about how the users will interact. It's mostly at the beginning of the app when you don't have anything to work on. You begin from design thinking. Okay, what's the problem? What's the solution? How are they going to interact with it? Etc. And then product thinking is actually done throughout the life cycle of the product. Then the outputs you have outputs you have like problem definition and prototypes. Oh, sorry. But then with product thinking, the deliverables are aligned. What you need is what you get from product thinking is deliverables that are aligned with business goals, like I said earlier. Here. So there's this workshop activity. So I'm just going to you guys can participate in this. So like what I mean by designing is are you guys familiar with wireframes? You guys can unmute now. Basically, guys, are you guys familiar with wireframes?
No.
No, ma'am.
Okay, so you guys don't know what wireframes are. So I wish you guys were here last week, but let me just Google it and share this tab so I can show you guys what wireframes are. Okay, I don't know why I can't display these pictures.
Um, does it have to do anything with the high fidelity and low fidelity? I think I
Yes.
read on it somewhere.
Okay, good. There are two types of wireframes: high fidelity and low fidelity. Low fidelity wireframes are the ones you can sketch. Like I don't know if you guys can see this section of my screen. I wish I could expand this. I don't know why I can't. Yeah. Okay, good. So these ones, let me share this. Oh shit. So can you guys see? These are low fidelity wireframes. Like you basically sketch these out on paper, pen and paper. Like, oh, okay, this is what the homepage is gonna look like. Oh, sorry. This is what the homepage is gonna look like. This is what the hotel like trips. Like if you're designing an app, the first place or you're iterating or you're doing a design thinking sprint, this is the first place you're gonna start. Pen and paper. This is a high fidelity wireframe. This is another example of a low fidelity wireframe. I think this is even a better example. Can you guys see?
Yes, ma, it's clear.
All right, guys. So I want everyone, your task for this week is, I don't know if we'll be meeting next week or not, but your task for this week is creating a low fidelity wireframe for a crowdfunding app. So I don't know, I think Miss Victoria is going to handle all that. But that is you guys' task for this week. Sorry about the noise. You're going to be designing low fidelity wireframes for a crowdfunding app. So do the research on problems people have relating to crowdfunding apps and and create low fidelity wireframes based on that. So make sure you have design thinking sprints and think about probable business goals that people or somebody building the app might have. Like, okay, how do we want to make money, transaction fees, stuff like that. So just think about it deeply. And yeah, have a good week, guys. Going off now. Bye.
Thank you, ma. Bye bye, ma. Please, are we done? Are we done for today? Please, are we done?
Hi, Gift. Are you trying to speak?
Yes, ma. I was asking if we're done.
Yeah. Continue. Just
Yes, I can hear you now, ma.